Okay, so let's do, this is the last part here. Let's answer this question here. What is the rocket's velocity at an elevation of 50 meters? So, uh, it's kind of exciting. Last time you were with me here, we figured out that this height is about 68.6 meters. Okay, so 50 meters is, somewhere in here, right? Okay, there's 50 meters. And the last time we saw you, we also figured out that this initial velocity is, approximately 36.6894, okay? And we have to use that information because we don't have any formulas. Okay, so that's the initial velocity, and that's in meters per second. Okay, the initial velocity in the final hitting the ground is negative that, right? Okay, so 36.6894. Yes, I have that correct. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to solve for what the final velocity is at an elevation of 50 meters. Now, of course, there's going to be two answers because it passes that on the way up and the way down, right? So here it's going up, here it's going to be going down. So there'll be a positive and a negative answer. So the question is, how can we have a mathematical formula that gives us two answers, right? And it's actually the answer to that's very simple. You just might not have paid attention to it in math class. So let's set up our SUVOT. Let's go ground to 50 meters. Okay, so S, U, V, A, and T. A is always negative 9.81, unless we're on Mars or something like that. Okay, our initial velocity, we're going to use that unrounded value, so 36.6894. Right, our displacement, that's where the 50 goes in, right? So that's 50 meters. Is it 50.0? There it is, right? Okay, and then we want to solve for V, so we use a formula that has no T. And that's this guy. V squared is U squared plus 2AS. And let's just plug in what we know. Well, we're solving for this guy, right? So V, the absolute value of V, right, is the square root, hard to do, of 36.6894 squared plus 2 times negative 9.81 times 50. And this will, of course, make it less. Right? We got this squared, and then this, the higher that is, the smaller this whole thing is, right? Okay, so let's set that guy up. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to go square root, left parenthesis, 36.6894 squared plus 2 times negative 9.81 times 50. And we're just careful, right? You got to have that minus sign. You forget the minus sign and you're in the Calvin and Hobbes world where everything accelerates upward. Okay, so when I get this, I get that the absolute value of V, remember we took the square root of V squared, right? So all we know is that the absolute value of V is 19.1 meters per second. Okay, that means that V can equal 19.1 positive or negative 19.1. In both cases, the absolute value would be 19.1, right? So in math class, we just sort of said, oh, that's interesting, and moved on. In physics, of course, the positive answer is when it passes that on the way up. The negative answer is when it passes that on the way down, which is interesting. Okay, yeah, that's cool. All right.